Guys, welcome to Parawomen Radio. I'm Amy. Today I thought we'd do like a quick catch up. I haven't done a live in a long time. I suffer from some autoimmune issues, and when they hit me hard. And it usually happens when I've been stressed out over a long period of time. And I was stressed out over a long period of time. So when it happens, I have to just let it happen. But I saw some exciting things. Some cool things that are happening in the true crime. And I'm not really sure which one I want to do first because I'm going to do some research to see if Shanann was being stalked prior to her death. And I want to do some research to see if the Idaho 4 was stalked prior to their death. But I just saw that the Aiden Fucci just pled guilty. I was considering going to that trial because it's very close to me in Florida. So what I think I want to do is watch the Aiden Fucci pleading guilty first to get a little more information. And then we'll pop over and do some of the just interesting things to see if people were being stalked prior to their death. So let me do the Aiden Fucci first. Okay. I will be stopping it for fair use.
All rise. The Johnson County Circuit Court is on session. The Honorable Judge Smith presiding.
Good morning, everyone. Please be seated. All right, we're here on the case of the State of Florida versus Aiden Fucci, case number 21 CF 825. Who have here on behalf of the State of Florida?
I don't know why, but I thought this Aiden Fucci trial was in Michigan. I don't know why, but here it was in Florida. So I might still go to the sentencing.
Florida,
Jennifer Dutton.
Mark Johnson.
on behalf of the defendant. All right, and Mr. Fucci is also present here today as well. I'll be seated. We are here to begin our jury selection process. However, it's come to my attention that there may be a change of circumstances. These people's, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you and your client can go ahead and approach the podium. Approach the bar.
I hope they speak up.
All right, Ms. Peoples.
Your Honor, on behalf of Aiden Fucci, we enter a change of plea at this time. And entering a guilty plea is charged.
And this is a straight plea to the court, or this is not a negotiated plea, is that correct?
Your Honor, we have presented several defense offers and they've all been rejected by the state.
Straight plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
State, make sure that we state for the record the possible penalties that Mr. Fucci is facing in the straight plea.
Yes, Your Honor, he's facing a possible sentence of life imprisonment. The mandatory minimum would be 40 years. So, similar to after trial, the range of exposure is 40 to life. He will be entitled to a review hearing.
You guys, I need to get my headphones. I can't hear what anybody's saying. Hold on one moment. I will put these headphones on and repeat what they're saying so that you can hear what it's What's saying? I've been watching bird videos and they drop sounds. Okay. Oh, nope. It's not much better.
Ms. Peoples, have you had sufficient time to talk with your client about this decision?
Yes, Your Honor.
In addition,
Oh no, it is better.
aware of this disposition, proposed other disposition of the proposed-
So
Both parents, yes, Your Honor.
So what was going to happen today, they were going to do jury selection, but instead Aiden Fucci, sorry guys, Aiden Fucci has pled guilty. He is the one that stabbed the 13-year-old cheerleader
Opportunity to consult with you as well as Mr.
late
Fucci.
at night
Yes, Your Honor.
in the
Any
woods.
matters we need to address at this time before I place Mr. Fucci on the road?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Fucci, if you could step over and speak into that, if you could adjust that.
Well, he said Fucci, so he's
Sir, if you'll raise your
having
right hand,
problems,
you swear
too.
or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, sir, if you please state your name.
Aiden Sean Fucci,
Mr. Fucci, how old are you, sir?
16,
Thank God we can hear
How long
him.
did you go in school?
to 8th grade.
Are you able to read, write, speak, and understand the English language?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any medication, drugs, or alcohol right now?
Yes, sir, my medication, but
What type of medication are you taking?
Rimron, lithium, and Suprexa.
Is that medication prescribed by a physician?
Yes, sir.
And does that medication assist you in your ability to understand what's happening and going on around you?
Yes, sir.
Have you taken that medication today as prescribed by your physician?
Last night, sir.
Last night, is that when you were scheduled to take it?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is it in any?
I wonder if we're ever going to come to a time in our world where, you know, how there's medical marijuana now in Florida. I know it because I am a patient. I wonder if it'll ever get to a point where medical marijuana is prescribed in prison as a medication that people can say that unless I take it, I can't function properly.
Any way, shape, or form affecting your ability to understand what's going on here this morning?
No, Your Honor.
Do you feel clear-headed and clear-minded about what's going on here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental health condition that could affect your ability to understand and comprehend what's going on today?
No, I don't believe so.
Your attorney has informed me that you'd like to enter a plea of guilty to the charge of first-degree murder. That is a sentence that is a crime which is punishable by up to life in prison. The minimum sentence that the court could impose would be 40 years in prison. You just heard.
He is not eligible for the death penalty because he is a teen. However, he is being charged as an adult, which that I have a whole huge issue with. We want to charge our kids with adult crimes, but we don't allow them to do adult things legally. So anyway, so he has decided to plead guilty. They had tried to get the state to offer some pleas, but none were sent his way. And also he can be given a life sentence, but he cannot be given a death sentence because he's a teenager.
Heard the state outline that range. Do you understand the range of possible penalties that you're facing if you enter this plea today?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that the minimum sentence that this court could impose for you would be 40 years in prison. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the court could impose all the way up to life in prison. Do you understand that as well?
I do, Your Honor.
And the way that this works is if the court were to sentence you to 40 years up to life, it would also be eligible for a review sentence of that sentence in 25 years. At that point, another body would then come back and review what we're doing here today, and they would look at that sentence and determine whether or not they should change that sentence. However, that's no guarantee as to what they're going to do. That's just something in the statute that requires another body to review this court sentence in 25 years. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you any particular sentence that I might impose if you do this?
No, sir.
No one's said, hey, if you
I wonder what will happen with the mother, because the mother did. Hold on, this unplugged. My microphone unplugged. The mother did. Oh, I hope you can. Hold on one second. Okay, so the mother took his jeans and washed them. I wonder if they will continue to charge her with something.
enter this plea today, the judge might, go lighter on you or anything like that? No one's promised you anything like that, have they?
No, sir.
You understand, again, I could give you 40 years up to life in prison.
Yes, I do.
You understand that today, we're here for jury selection. So we actually have members of St. Johns County who have reported to the courthouse today downstairs. They're actually waiting for us right now, and we were going to begin to select a jury to conduct a trial for you. You understand that you have the right to that jury trial?
Yes, sir, I do.
Your attorney had filed a motion, and we had a hearing a few weeks ago, I guess, where she had, the state had requested a 6-person jury, and your attorney requested a 12-person jury. Do you recall that hearing that we had on that?
Yes, sir.
And you also understand that right now your attorney has filed a motion to an appellate court, which is kind of a higher court above this court. And their responsibility is to review all of the decisions that go on here. And right now she's filed that appeal as to whether or not you were entitled to a 6-person or a 12-person jury. You familiar with all that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you and she discuss the fact that by entering this plea today, you're kind of taking away that issue? In other words, there's not going to be an appeal anymore. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I understand.
Once you enter this plea today, that's going to go away. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
Is anyone forcing you or threatening you in any way to get you to do this?
No, sir.
Has anyone promised you anything in exchange for your plea?
No, sir.
I have a document.
Okay, you've got it tuned into Pair Women Radio, and I'm Amy. What we're watching right now is the Aiden Fucci. He was supposed to come in and do a jury selection today. However, he has decided to plead guilty, and the judge is he's got him on oath right now, and he's asking him all these questions to make sure that he knows what's going on.
Document here. It's called a plea form.
If you like this content, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be great. It pushes my content out into the algorithm.
The state of Florida versus your name or a case number. On the second page of this document, above the word defendant is a signature. Can you see that signature I'm pointing to? You have
Yes,
a
sir.
copy of it in front of you as well. Is that right? Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And by signing this document, are you indicating to me that you've read this document?
Yes, sir, I read it.
In addition to reading it, did you discuss it and talk about everything that's on it with your attorney?
I did.
Did she answer any and all questions about everything that's contained on this document?
Yes, sir.
There's a number of rights that you're giving up. I've already talked about them a little bit, but I want to talk about them again with you, okay? You understand again that you have the right to a jury trial. During that trial, you're entitled to be represented by an attorney. You've got attorneys who are appointed to represent you. They would have been with you throughout that trial. You have the right to compel.
I think he has a better chance of pleading guilty and having this judge possibly not sentence him to life, opposed to going into a jury trial where he's obviously going to be found guilty and that everything be thrown at him. So I think he's hoping the judge will have a little bit of mercy by him pleading guilty.
Witnesses to come in and testify on your behalf. You could have testified during that trial if you wished, or you could have remained silent throughout that trial. You could have required the state of Florida to prove this charge beyond a reasonable doubt. You could have presented evidence during that trial. You could have cross-examined any witnesses that the state might have called against you. And you also could have appealed your conviction and sentence to a higher court. You understand, once I accept your plea today, there will not be a trial. We'll pass this matter off for sentencing, and you'll be giving up all of those rights that I just described.
I do, Your Honor.
Another matter that I want to address with you is another motion that we had previously discussed a couple of months ago, I believe, which was your attorney had filed a motion was called a change of venue. In other words, she wanted to have this trial conducted in a different county instead of St. Johns County. She was concerned about whether or not we would be able to handle a fair and impartial jury. And if you recall, I ruled on that and I denied that motion. However, I stated that I would reconsider that if, after we had attempted to select a jury here in St. Johns County, if the court then determined that we could not find a fair and impartial jury for you, that we would move this to a different county. You understand that, again, once you enter this plea, that issue is not something that would be appealable anymore.
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that now, that we're going to proceed here today with this plea? So you'll be giving up that appellate right as well.
Yes, sir.
I get why he's going through it. He wants to make sure that, he is just 16 years old. Remember when you were 16, how you thought compared to what you think now? By the way, I'm not condoning what he did. What he did was horrible, completely horrible. But he's young enough. He needs to be somewhere where he gets help.
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you also get a chance to discuss it with your parents?
Yes, sir.
Have you also had sufficient time to talk with your attorneys about your case itself and any possible defenses that you might have raised through this charge?
Yes, sir.
I know that you were housed up in Duval County. Did that in any way preclude your ability to speak with your attorneys? Have your attorneys been able to meet with you and have conversations with you about your case?
They did.
Did you get to go over the evidence that the state has and that they've supplied in discovery? Have you discussed all that evidence with your attorneys as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you need any time at all, any more time at all to speak with your attorneys before I accept your plea today?
No, sir.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes, sir.
Did your attorneys explain to you that if you were not a U.S. citizen, entering this plea could have subjected you to being deported from the United States?
Yes, sir.
And you've not ever previously been convicted of any type of sexually violent or sexually motivated crime, have you?
No, sir.
I believe this was his first charge ever, wasn't it?
You supplied the defense all of the discovery in this case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you aware of any physical evidence that can be tested for DNA that might exonerate this defendant?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Peoples, have you had sufficient time to review all the discovery and discuss it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you
Oops. Let me
aware
stop
of any
right
physical
here
evidence that can be tested for DNA that might
for
exonerate
one
this
second. When I'm watching this, I'm away from the page. So no, Annie, there is no connection between Bryan and Chris Watts. What I'm going to do is do some research to see if there was anybody Googling Shanann Watts prior to her death and anybody Googling the Idaho 4 prior to their death. Hold on a second. Yeah, so after this, but this just popped up right before I decided to come on, and I was going to go to this trial and stream from there. However, now this is Aiden Fucci, and he is pleading guilty to the charge of murder.
No, sir.
He stabbed
Statement of facts and basis, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
the girl 114 times
In the county of St. Johns in the state of Florida, the defendant, Aiden Fucci, did
when he was
unlawfully
13
kill
years old.
Dean, Tristan Bailey, Furthermore, during the commission of said offense, Aiden Fucci used a weapon contrary to Florida statute 78204, sub 1, sub A, and 775.087, sub 1.
Any objections or exceptions to factual basis?
For the purpose of the plea, yes, Your Honor.
Do you have exceptions or you do not?
No exception.
Aiden's team had tried to get the prosecutors to offer them a deal, but they wouldn't offer him a deal. So he is pleading guilty, and I'm guessing it's because he's hoping that the judge will have some mercy on him. I have my BA in psych, and I've been a social worker for many, many years, but I would have periods of time where I would burn out. And during one of those burnouts, I was a paralegal. So I do enjoy court work and court proceedings. And so I was going to drive down to the trial and watch it. But I still might do it for the when he gets his sentencing. I still might do it.
Exceptions, accepting it for the purpose of the plea.
All right. I do find a sufficient factual basis for the charge of first-degree murder. Mr. Fucci, is it your desire to enter a plea of guilty to one count of first-degree murder?
Yes, sir.
I accept your plea. I entered into freely, voluntarily, and intelligently, that you are prepared and alert, and that you understand the nature of the charges and the consequences of your plea.
I do.
We need to pass this matter off for a sentencing hearing. I know that this, we probably aren't ready to pick a date yet. Why don't we come back? Let's talk a little bit about what we need to do before we get to sentencing. So we hear from the state.
Yes, sir. I think if we want to state a discovery deadline where both parties have to disclose any additional evidence for purpose of sentencing, maybe witnesses that have not already been disclosed, and then from there, set a status in February for on those lights, and then probably pick a date sometime in February once we exchange those lights.
Pick a date for the sentencing out in March or April. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Peoples, does that schedule work for you?
Yes, sir.
How long will both sides need to compile a list of witnesses to, for the sentencing hearing
I believe
itself?
10 days would be sufficient, Your Honor.
All right. so
March
10
and
days
April
from
would be
today,
perfect.
Both sides will tender
For
any
me.
witness list and any other discovery that they intend to utilize. Obviously, if there are letters of impact statements, things of that nature, I would expect those. But if it's anything of evidentiary value, that needs to be provided within 10 days of today. I'm also going to order a pre-sentence investigation. Ms. Peoples, are you requesting that as well?
Yes, sir.
And a predisposition report. I believe you would be entitled to that. So we're going to order both of those reports. So then we'll get working on both of those.
Your Honor, I just a special request with that order that if the court could note to the meeting DJJ and to the, I believe it would be the sheriff's office, that defense counsel wants to be present for those interviews.
I will absolutely notify them as well that you should be present for those interviews. Mr. Fucci, your attorneys are going to be present with you, but there will be, there's going to be a couple of reports that are going to be compiled for the court. They're going to be used as an aid to the court in order to determine what the appropriate sentence is. There will be someone who will come out and speak with you. Again, your attorneys will be present.
So they're doing some psychological testing.
Family members, and then also the state. And
They don't do this for adults. This is simply because he's a
attorneys. And,
teenager,
also the
16-year-old
family members as well.
minor. Gosh.
So why don't we come back on February 23rd at 9 a.m. We'll call it a status. And at that time, we will select the date for our sentencing hearing. How many days do you anticipate needing for the sentencing hearing itself?
2, Your Honor.
2 days?
Stay on the state's behalf, I would say reserve one for us, plus whatever.
Okay. Well, we'll set aside, we'll find 2 days. You all tell me when you both will be ready, and then we will select those 2 days. And then any hearings or any motions that we need to address on February 23rd, we can address those at that time as well. And I believe that covers everything. Is there anything else we need to address from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. A point of clarification that Mr. Fucci had said that he read it. I actually read it out loud to him. It's a minor point, but I just wanted to clarify that on the waiver form.
The the plea form?
That's correct.
Okay, so
And-
Mr. Fucci, when I asked you about whether or not you read it, your attorney actually read the plea form to you, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And she went over all those rights that I went over with you as well?
Yes, sir.
And she again answered any and all questions about everything that's contained on that document for you?
She did.
And your parents were also present during that conversation as well? Were they present as well?
No, it was a separate conversation with the parents.
Okay.
And Mr. Fucci just wanted to make a short statement.
I just want to say I plead not guilty. That I'm sorry for the Bailey family and my family.
Okay. Okay. I'm sure that there'll be an opportunity, obviously, at sentencing hearing to speak again at that time. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other matters we need to address? Anything else from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
No, sir.
All right. Well, we're adjourned. We'll see you back here February 23rd at 9 a.m.
Okay, so that was
Where's the-
Aiden Fucci. He's pleading guilty. They're coming back at the end of February to decide what 2 days they're going to choose for the sentencing trial, probably in March or April, and I hope to go to that. Hey, are you guys interested in this case? Have you been following it at all? I've been kind of following it, but not like truly following it. I didn't realize it was getting so close to when they were choosing the jury and all that. So if you're interested in him, let me know. Was there a connection? No. Oh wait. Yeah. Okay, so Bryan stalked all the girls in the house. So, but we're going to look at that. We're going to see who was stalked more than the other. And but I just want to take a quick moment to say this is Pair Women Radio and I'm Amy. If you like what you're watching, if you could give me a thumbs up, that helps me. It's a free way to help the channel out. And if you enjoy the content, subscribe and ring the bell. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to share. Who do you want to do first? Bryan, or do you want to do the Watts case? I've got both of them queued up. So yeah, right? Paralegal radio. Parasocial has become a word now, so it blends right into Para Women because we're women doing the unusual and we're on the internet. So let's see. It's like it's an interactive experience. So it's like you know us, but you don't know us, but you know us. That kind of thing. So, okay, you know what? I kind of feel like doing the Watts first. So we're going to do the Watts first. We're going to even do some digging to see if maybe Chris was doing some research about Nicole. Maybe. Let's see. I have to share the screen though. Okay, so this is Google Trends, and on here you can do some searches to see how many people have been searching a certain person in a certain amount of time space. So I've gone with, you can see up here, let me make sure you can see it over on the other page. Yeah, you can see it. Okay, so you can see that in here, the search term is Shanann Watts. And then I put in Colorado and see it's under the United States. And then there's Colorado. And then I decided to do a search between like 1/1 of 17 and 8/14 of 18. Because she was killed, was it on February 13th. So we can see, and I did all categories, and this one I did a web search, but we can get into it and go a little bit deeper. I'm sure people have done this already, but I decided I wanted to do it too. So we can see over here on January 15th through the 21st, 5 people searched her. And then we can go over here and we can see on March 5th through the 11th, 2 people looked for her. And then it goes on and on like that. So in March, there was 3. April, there was 5. Now, granted, we can't say that this was Nikki searching for her because she did do the Thrive business, which would probably cause some people to look for her during that time. But what I find interesting is that supposedly in June, I think, wasn't it? That was when they met. So in August, there was 6. And then, see, this was the year before. And then there's not really, because she was killed in 2018. And I did it a year before. So, because some have said that Nikki was stalking the Wattses up to a year or 2 before. So we can see here that in August from the 20th to the 26th, the 13th to the 19th, there was 6 searches, but then there's this whole long search time where nobody's looking for her, nobody. And then it starts up again in December 24th through the 30th of 2017. And then in January, there's 4, and it starts going way up here. She gets 6, but then she's getting some nearly every day in this time period from February 11th to March 7th. No, I'm sorry, March 10th. She's getting something every single day in 2018, and that's not happening. But is her Thrive business picking up? Maybe. April, and then we're hitting right about the time that supposedly Chris and Nikki met. It was right around this time, supposedly. And then in June 24 through 30, 2018, she gets 6. And then, of course, after that, it just, skyrockets. But we can do something even more interesting with this. You can go into the web search and then just look for who did image searches, and get ready for this. It's completely different. There are, in January of 2017, here Shanann gets 73 image searches, hits. Here she gets 92, 87, 89. It goes down a little bit. There's periods of time where there's none. And this is in 2017. And then when we get over to 2018, which I believe 2018 is when Nikki truly got the Watts in her sights. I think that that's when, okay, so here we are in January 7th of 2018. There's nothing really. And then here she gets 32. February, she gets 100. And then over here, April, she gets 54. July through August, she gets 53. Now, granted, these could all spike due to her Thrive business. You just never know. She wasn't really on YouTube, so why would there, was she on YouTube? Because back in 2017, she's got 133. Well, it could be all due to her Thrive business. She was really trying to get that to grow. Her Google shopping. But let's go back to the web search and let's compare to, let me make sure I type in Nicole Kessinger's name right. Because Nicole Kessinger and Nikki Kessinger, or Nicole Atkinson. A lot of Nicole's in this story. Let's see. Do you think one day somebody will crack the code and figure out what her new name is? Okay, so here's the web search. I thought it would be interesting to add Nikki. Nikki is the mistress. Nicole Kessinger is the best friend of Shanann. So over here we have Shanann Watts is the blue one and Nicole Kessinger is the black one. So, I mean, it's quite possible Nicole is, doing some searches of her own for herself, or this was in the state of Colorado. So these are the searches for that come within the state of Colorado. These aren't like searches throughout the world. They're throughout the state of Colorado during this time frame right here. And right now I have all categories, but you can even go in depth with different categories. But when I search, I really don't put a category. I just do the search. But I guess, for those that are getting more in depth about something. So this was the web search. Nobody knew her name yet. So August 12th through the 18th, she gets 4 searches and Shanann gets 100. Let me actually, I want to change this a little bit and put in, I don't remember when it came out that I was actually quite sick when this case was happening. So I don't remember specifically, but let's put the 20th in and see. No, nobody really knew about her quite yet. Okay. So anyway, let's put in, so that's the web search. Let's see what the image search is like. So Nikki is the red one, Shanann is the blue one. She is getting some image searches of her own. Do you think it's Nikki searching herself, or do you think it's Chris Watts? That's 100 images. Wow. I get why Shanann would have some searches because her Thrive business, but I do not get why there would be so many searches of Nikki. Do you? Does anyone have any ideas? Even like before Shanann's murder, July 8th through the 14th, her images went way up to 96. They were the highest they had been. Well, no, that was 100. So they are almost up. When was this? This was in July. Was this in July too? Yeah, this is strange. Right around the same time, Nikki's image searches went up. And these are searches that people actually put into Google for Nicole Kessinger from the state of, coming from the state of Colorado on this time period. I'm sure everybody gets that, but for those that are just tuning in, I want you to kind of know what we're doing. So, well, kind of, I want you to know what we're doing, not kind of. Did she have any YouTube searches? Okay, Nikki had some YouTube searches, and she scrubbed herself. Nikki scrubbed herself from the internet, and these could have been when she was trying to research herself so that she could scrub everything, because I can think of no other reason why she would have just as many searches as, if not more, of Shanann. Than Shanann, I mean. Okay, so let's add Chris Watson to it and see, was anybody doing any research on old Chrissy Poo? Okay, so Chrissy Poo is in the yellow. Wow. Okay, this is YouTube search. Let's do web search. All right, so Chris is pretty flatlined. There's one search for him in April of 2017, another in May of 2017. There's one right here in 2017. I mean, who do you think is searching for Chris? Chris does not have very many searches, but 2018 in March, he gets one. Ooh, he gets two between April 1st through the 7th. I think that this was right around the time, I think February was right around the time I personally think that he and Nikki became aware of each other. And then of course he goes through the roof here because but from August 19th through the 25th, Shanann gets 14 and he gets 100. Well, I guess, you know what? I have to remind myself that it's the state of Colorado coming out of. Is there anybody else you want me to add to this? Did the searches increase? No, it doesn't seem like they did increase just before the murders. Let me take Chris off of here because it makes it way too small. Well, I would say that they increased right around this period from, let's see. So here, oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. Here is the, I have a little bit of a cold or something. I don't think it's COVID. I just can't bring myself to stick something up my nose. So I've just stayed home. But so here in February, Shanann gets 6 and Nikki gets 2. In February, again, 3 and 3. So they never really have a period of time where they're getting about the same searches at the same time. So that's different. Here, just before, so Shanann, or I'm sorry, Chris and Nikki supposedly met right at the beginning of June. So right here from May 27th to June 2nd, Nikki gets 3 hits. Right here in June through the 30th, which, yeah, Shanann gets 6 and Nikki gets 4. But then, when people do searches, they're really what they're searching for are images, in my opinion. So, or one of the big draws is, pictures. So this is 2017, though. It's just kind of like Nikki was getting a bunch of them from February to the like during all this time, but I can't say. I know she's nowhere on the internet. She, like, before this happened, well, I shouldn't say she's nowhere. There's very little about her on the internet. So she definitely scrubbed herself. But she did say that she had an ex that was stalker-ish. So this could be another reason why she's getting all these hits. She supposedly had an ex that was a stalker. And Shanann was running the Thrive business. And before the Thrive business, it was, I don't remember. It was a bunch of MLMs. But yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break right between this. The little dog is demanding attention, so I need to go take care of her real quick. We're going to take like a 3 or 4 minute break between, and when we come back, we'll do the searches for the Idaho 4. You guys, this is Parawomen Radio, and I'm Amy. We are an interactive paranormal, true crime, and conspiracy theory channel. And really just anything else that I enjoy. And I like to highlight and bring to you fascinating and interesting women that are doing the unusual. And if you like our content, I would love it if you would become a subscriber. And if you subscribe, be sure to hit that bell so you get all the updates. And what we did before this, we watched the Aiden Fucci trial, or not trial. He well, it was kind of, he pleaded guilty. And then in February, end of February, they're going to come back and decide 2 days in March and April to do the sentencing. And I think I will be going to that trial and bringing it to you. Then we went into doing our own search on who's stalking who. We did the Watts Shanann, Chris, and Nikki. Let me show you my screen again. I'm going through this where I'm going back on my keto. And maybe that's what it, like when you get that kind of keto flu the first few days, but okay. So this one I've got set up for the Bryan Kohberger case, the Idaho 4. We're going to do searches from Washington, even though they went to Idaho University. Bryan Kohberger went to Washington. So we're going to look at what searches were coming for these people out of Washington during, hold on, I got my glasses off. So I decided the search time to do from June 1st, 2022 to 11/14/22. That's when they were murdered. I decided to go back into June because he would have moved into his apartment or dorm. It was actually an apartment. But I would imagine anytime between June and August. So that is the search time. Who do you want to do first? Let me get their names pulled up so I have them spelled correctly. It's kind of sad though, because Bryan is almost superseding the victims now. Of when I do the search, I get more on Bryan than I do on the victims. Okay. So let me just pull up their spellings. Jeez. All right, no. All right, let's do Maddie first. Maddie Mogan. Okay, so there's Maddie. And this was who was searching for Maddie Mogan, coming from Washington, from 6/1/22 to 11/14/22. Oh, wait, no. I need to do it 23. Oh, no, I don't. They were murdered in 22. I cannot believe it's already the second month of 23. What the heck is going on? Time just seems to be going so much faster than it used to. I think I do have a cold. God, I hope it's not the co. Ugh, number 14. Okay, so whew, I need a moment. Okay. Made my eyes water and everything. So on 6/1 of 22, from 11 to 14/22, these were the searches for Maddie Mogan. So in June was the highest at 35. But she did work at the Mad Greek restaurant. So take that for what it is. In June 24. So we're just kind of looking at the summertime. And then we're kind of moving along in the summer. But then here in September 15th, she gets 60. And then she gets 59. She's getting a lot right here. In September, she has quite a few up and down. October, not so much, but it picks up right around this time. She's getting 32 and 64, 20, 67 just before her murder. And let's add Kaylee to it. Be interesting to see Kaylee because she supposedly is the one that he was going after, although I don't know if I believe that. I kind of secretly suspect that it's Maddie, but because Maddie was such a pretty girl and her boyfriend was kind of geeky, so which told me she likes geeks. And Bryan was a geek and he probably saw her and thought, ooh, you know, maybe I could have a chance with her. See, she's got 100 and but Kaylee did not work at the Mad Greek, so it was Xana that worked at the Mad Greek, so I'm not really sure. I mean, all her searches, she's a beautiful girl. Maddie's a beautiful girl. Xana's a beautiful girl. There's bound to be some searches, but they weren't doing anything like Thrive or any reason trying to scrub themselves. There was no reason that anybody should really be hard searching them so much. I mean, it's just a lot. And Kaylee is just almost nonstop. Once it starts, it just kind of never stops for her. I mean, there's short periods of time, like there's like a day where she goes without not being searched. So I could be very wrong about the Kaylee thing, but Kaylee's getting quite a few searches prior to her. See, here's Kaylee has 91, Maddie has 0. But then the next day, Maddie's getting 27, Kaylee's getting 0. So let's put in Xana Kernoodle. But I'm going to take one of them out because when I put 3 in, it's too many to see. So let's take Maddie out. And then we will put Xana in. Okay, so Xana's the red one and Kaylee is the blue one. Xana's getting her fair searches. I mean, she's got average more than Kaylee, but again, was it because she worked at the Mad Greek? Although, and also she was very active in sports. But I mean, I mean, over in July, here Kaylee's getting 100, and in June, Xana's getting 97. But I think what's important is to look closer to the fall this summer. September, Zaina's 57, 32. You know, Kaylee's not even getting as many as Zaina. So actually, I'm going to go further for them because he wasn't caught for like a month. Let's see what if he was doing any extra searches. Ah. Ooh. But this could very well be because of their murders. But they weren't announced. Their names weren't announced right away. So let's see if it changed with those little few extra days. If they were murdered on the 13th. So here on the 14th, Zaina got 47 from Washington, and Kaylee is getting just the same amount. All right, let's put Ethan in here. Put Ethan in here. Oh, yeah, we'll put Ethan in. But who do we want to take out? Well, you know what? Let's take Kaylee out and put Ethan and Zaina in together. I take one out because it makes it easier for me to see the chart. Okay. Now Ethan is the red one. So Ethan, you know, Ethan and Zaina, but Ethan and Zaina probably, were they together? I think they said they'd been together for like a year and a half or two. It wasn't like over 2 years. I know that. So Ethan's shot up on November 15th, which, let me think. Do you guys remember when it was announced the name of the 3 victims? Do you remember? Or 4 victims, I mean. Do you remember that? I don't remember it. It was probably like a day or two. But let's go and type in. Sorry, it stopped sharing. But let's put in the roommate. Dylan, I can't remember her last name. Dylan Mortensen. Let's see if Dylan was anybody did any kind of searches for Dylan during that time. Now Dylan, for those that don't know, is the roommate that woke up during the murders and heard things, opened her door, saw Bryan Kohberger walk by her. Yeah. That one that's getting a lot of flack from people. Let's see. Now, granted, my personal feeling on this was after Bryan killed 4 people, he was like just pooped. He was out of breath, out of it. And I just don't think he could kill another person. I think that he just had to get out of there. So, and I don't think he saw Dylan. And I do believe that Dylan has she had some psychological problems prior to this. She had problems with night terrors and things like that. When you have night terrors, you don't always know if you're awake or not. It's a weird sensation. And when you sleepwalk, you don't really know what's happening. And then to have that happen on top of it, I bet she doesn't sleep ever. Okay, so let me share this for you guys. Okay. All right. So Dylan is the one in the red. And she is averaging higher than Zaina was. So let's look here. September, I think, is really when he really did his research on the kids. Here Dylan was why won't it let me go up there? This is interesting. You can go deeper and deeper into this. I haven't even gone down here. Color intensity represents the percentage of searches. Oh, okay. Okay, so I put Dylan in there, Dylan. So here we have, it's not really letting me go up to the top of what. Early in the summer, Zaina, Dylan. Zaina kind of has more than Dylan, but then Dylan becomes really popular in July. I don't know a lot about Dylan other than what I told you in the beginning just now. I don't know what if she did sports. I don't know where she worked. I don't really know a lot about her. But in August, she's got quite a few. She's got 100 right here. I mean, she actually has quite a few. Yeah, she has quite a few. My gosh. She seems consistent. I mean, they all right here, right here, right at the end of August is the period of time where it just picks up steam and it becomes consistent, and only a day goes between and I was watching I think it was Nancy Grace, and they were talking about this, and they were saying that, when this type of person, when they lock onto you, they just lock onto you, and their interest, they have to look at you because they want to absorb you. They want to own every inch of you. And really, if you really want to understand something or really remember something or somebody, you really have to look at them in order to do that. If you want to remember what somebody looks like, you really have to study them and really look at it. But with him, it's magnified, and he was just really locking in to these people. And I'm not saying he's the only person from Washington doing the search, because I mean, it could very well be other people from, the college in Washington. But reports are coming out now that students in Idaho remember him and the student union and just walking around the campus. One student said that she saw him so much that she just assumed he was a student. So yeah, there's that. So I think I'm going to end it here. We've been going for a little bit over an hour. I wanted to show you those. If you want me to come in and do some more deep dives, like go further into all of this with these cases, other cases, the Aiden Fucci trial is one that I'm going to be bringing to you. Has anyone been paying attention to the Darrell Brooks? I know that's over with, but I kind of want to go and kind of dive into his trial. And yeah, so I'm going to start bringing you a whole bunch of different kind of trials. We have skincare and suspects. Angela and I just filmed one. We decided to film it instead of doing a live, and then I'm going to put it together and bring to you as a live. It's going to be the JonBenet case and peptides. And so I'm also doing a music true crime paranormal show that I'm developing with Shanann Overland, although I know that's not her name anymore. It's Shanann Finkelstein. But she used to bring us the Paraworld news, and she and I are teaming back up to do something. So I'm super excited about that. And I have a lot of things coming for you guys. And I want to thank everyone for listening. I truly appreciate you. If you could give this a thumbs up, it would mean the world to me. If you have any comments, please let me know. If you have any cases you want me to bring to you, let me know. And if there's anything you like, let me know. And if there's anything you don't like, please let me know. I really honor all comments as long as they're diplomatic. So I'll see everyone next time. Okay, bye.